Good morning. Today I'd like to present my analyzation of the King County housing data set. So the data set was taken between May 2014 and May 2015 with several factors that influence home price. In this data set, it was the bedrooms, bathrooms, square foot living, square foot lot, floors, view, condition, grade, square foot above, square foot basement, year built, year renovated, zip code, latitude, and longitude. So our goal today is to create a model that's going to predict housing prices based on the factors that I just mentioned. First, I'd like to discuss the data. I had several categories that had missing data values. So the first one was waterfront status. The way that I dealt with this is I looked first at whether having a waterfront status increased the price, and it does. So at first I wanted to keep it. However, when I researched it a little more, there was a very small percentage of homes that actually had data on them. And so I ended up dropping the column altogether. Year renovated, I was missing data, but I noticed that it does affect the price. So I didn't want to drop this one altogether because it was a good indicator of the price. So what I did is I filled the median value. I chose the median over the mean because I noticed that there were a lot of zero values, as in houses that have never been renovated, and I didn't want those to negatively affect my mean value, and so that's why I chose the median. Last but not least, there was view rating, and I filled that with a median value of 0. The reason that I chose the median for this one was because it's a categorical variable, meaning that it has to be a 0, a 1, a 2, or a 3. It can't be a decimal, and the mean would have been a decimal. So later on in my research, I found that the basement square footage category had some rows with no data. They had question marks instead of like null value. And so what I did with those is I filled them with the median value as well. Similar to year renovated, there were quite a few 0 values, as in houses that don't have a basement, and I didn't want that to negatively affect my mean. Oops. So a couple questions that I started asking about the data. I wanted to see if there was an effect of square footage on price. So the way that I did this is I went ahead and came up with a prediction line. And there is a correlation. You can see in this graph here that it seems to be a linear relationship until we put this prediction line on it. The line can only explain 49% of the data, and therefore it's not an accurate predictor. There's a correlation, but it doesn't predict it. Next, I asked if there's a relationship between square footage and bedrooms. With 95% certainty, we can say there is a relationship. However, it's not a linear relationship. So again, they don't predict each other. Are bedrooms and bathrooms correlated? There's no linear relationship between bedrooms and bathrooms. The reason, if you can imagine, you have some houses that have a ton of bedrooms and maybe only a few bathrooms. They don't predict each other. They have a weak correlation. Usually the more bedrooms, the more bathrooms. So they do have a relationship. They just, it's not a good predictor of each other. So as far as results and recommendations, our model accounts for 68% of the change of the price in a house. So that means when we make a prediction with this model, 68% of the time it's going to explain the difference. So using the model, I get a coefficient for each factor, and that coefficient tells me for each increase in this coefficient, here's the increase in price. And using that, the factors that I would recommend paying the most attention to are the quality of the view, the grade of the house, and the condition of the house. The highest selling houses will be in good condition and grade and have a good view. So in conclusion, I had to remove some of the data, but it was still viable for a working model. I was able to ask some questions to explore the data, looking at the relationship between bedrooms and bathrooms, square footage and price, and square footage and bedrooms. None were predictors of each other, but they did have relationships. And the biggest influences of a sale price are the view, condition, and grade of the house. So, are there any questions?